All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Spare Room Talks. Today we have a very special guest with us today, Mrs. Yasmin Vorajee.
Yep.
Great to have you on board.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming to Dublin. I know you don't usually come here.
That's true. I feel like a bit of a city slicker today.
And what time did you arrive this morning?
It wasn't too bad actually this morning because I was speaking at an event in Dublin and that didn't start until 12. So I was there for 11. So it wasn't too bad. I got the kids off to school and creche and all that kind of good stuff before I left my home, which is 2 hours away. Yeah.
Cool. And tell us about the event. Yeah, I know you were giving a keynote today.
Yeah, so it was for International Women's Day and it was all about women in enterprise. And so I was doing a speech really about the key ingredients for a successful, profitable 20-hour week business, which is what I talk about.
Right. Awesome. And how did it go?
It went great. And I had lots of people come up and say, oh, you just had all these light bulbs going off. And it really resonated because I share my story about my 3 kids. And, and what I do is about learning how to make your business work in a small amount of time, whether you have a family or not, whether you have a full-time job and you want to do the business as a side hustle, or if you just don't want to be working long hours, and so people are saying, oh, actually, I could be a lot smarter with my time. And I asked a question around, are you making revenue generating top of your priority list? And they're saying, yeah, I'm really busy, Yasmin, but I don't feel like I get very far. And I said, it's because we're doing the wrong things and we're focusing on the wrong things.
Right.
So I think there was a lot of people who could relate to what I was saying.
Right.
Which is great.
What's the audience like? Like, do you know if what the characteristics were, or the audience were, more or less?
With kind of a variety of businesses, service businesses, product businesses. So it's women in enterprise in the Fingal area of Dublin. So I think the people who were kind of coming, they were very different and broad, but I think that the guiding principles are all the same around business, and I think that they're all saying, how could I do better? How can I make more money?
Right.
And then they, in the same breath they say, well, money's not important. And I said, yeah, but it's the lubricant. It helps make everything easier, and I think that especially when you're involved in creative work, like when you're worried about money, your creative juices just get stemmed, nothing happens because you're too busy focusing on where the money's going to come from.
Yeah.
And that focus on just where the money's coming from makes you make sometimes bad short-term decisions rather than focusing on the long-term, viability of your business.
Absolutely. And I think as well, like I was reading something related to that the other day. It was actually a podcast that I was listening to, and they were talking about how, money, should actually be part of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because if you think about it, all the things that you would need, even the basic things like food, shelter, health, all these things, you need money to be able to put all that into, and they were saying as well, money shouldn't be seen as something that, that you don't talk about, or, something that's evil or something like that. It's obviously what money can do and what money can power, obviously.
And I completely agree, because it's not about money being the end goal. It's about what it allows you to do. So it allows me to pay for my kids' Irish dancing classes, or their swimming, or whatever else they're doing at school that I have to pay for. And and I kind of use it an example in the book because I wanted to address the elephant in the room in the book, where I talk to so many people and they're like saying, well, money's not important to me. And I'm like, okay, can we just call it out? Because I do think that's a level of BS. Because, and I said, just substitute the word money for chickens. And you need chickens to, like if you think of the old way of bartering, if I've got 100 chickens and I need to get food or shelter or, fuel for my fire, I'd say, I'll give you 5 chickens for that. And they go, grand. If it's chickens, we don't get all worried about it. But when it's suddenly money, it's as if it's unspiritual, that we're being greedy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just went, no, money just makes things happen for you.
You're absolutely right. Like it's based on sometimes people just have a different kind of connotation with that. And psychologically, sometimes it just creates a barrier for them where it's like, it's very, it just becomes such an obstacle or such a hindrance to overcome. Okay, so I feel like I jumped right in. I just wanted to cycle back quickly, and just for the folks who may not know you from all the press and the books and all the awesome things that you're doing, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So like I said, I'm Yasmin, and I live in Leitrim here in Ireland. As you can probably tell from the accent, I'm not Irish. I am English, but my parents are both from India. And I've lived in Ireland for nearly 20 years. I'm married to an Irish farmer, which I never thought I would ever say that. But obviously, life takes you in a different way sometimes. And I run a business called Tiny Time, Big Results. And it's about helping small business owners run a profitable business in 20 hours a week or less. And it really stemmed from my own struggle of when I was made redundant from my corporate role, and I was in corporate for 12 years before I started my own business. I was vice president of leadership development. And when I was made redundant from that role, and I thought, I don't want to be a commuter mom. I don't want to be traveling, for hours every day. I just want more. And at the time, my eldest was only 15 months old. And I said, well, we want more children, and, this isn't going to work. So I started the business.
Right.
And then it was that moment of, oh God, how am I going to do this? Which then turned to, well, could I make it work? And that kind of brought me onto this adventure. I like to think of it as an adventure that, it's like, well, how could I make it work in 20
Taking it
hours?
on like a challenge, basically.
Yeah, kind of, and almost like gamifying it as well. It was like, okay, so what do I need to focus on in order to make it work? And that's where the book came from, because, I want to hope that people pick up the book and they say, if they want to have a profitable 20-hour week business, they go, okay, she's going to show me the way, like a guide.
And do you find that it's people that are currently working full-time, but they have this, dream side hustle business?
Yeah.
Or do you find that it's folks, that's maybe a different segment?
It's a little bit combination. Like I get a lot of parents who've got young kids and they're like thinking they could be in a full-time job, but they want to start their own business. But of course, there's a huge amount of insecurity and anxiety around that. Or people who've got their own business and they're just like, I'm working so long and this isn't why I started the business in the first place. I wanted freedom, I wanted flexibility, and I've got none of that.
Right, yeah.
And then
the movie said that it'll be different.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I also get people who are retired or coming up to retirement, and they're saying, well,
that's so interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to retire. I want to still have something to do. I still have so much to offer.
Right.
And, so it's that, I suppose, commonality of, I want this business. I want something for me.
Yeah.
It's going to pay me well, but it's not going to take up a huge amount of my time.
Right. I'm so happy you got me a copy of the book. I can't wait to jump right in, because I feel like I'm glad that I took a guess to see, that I had a feeling that it was more than one audience that could really benefit from this, because ultimately it comes down to, how you use your time and how you can use, sometimes like thinking back on the corporate world, sometimes based on the deadline that you have, you're able to get whatever the task is, like based on the date, you'll be able to expand or like condense that task based on how, like if you give me a job and I have 1 month to do it, I'll probably, space it out such that it does indeed take a month to do, versus, this is just going to take I only have a week to get this done.
Yeah.
I think just the mindset, as well as like all the shortcuts, I don't know if it's like a survival instinct or it's just like, this like get, this like get shit done kind of like instinct, where it's like, okay, I need to get this done because, for example, I've set a target for myself to get this done in 20 hours because outside that, I have my family, I have other commitments.
Exactly. And it's just like, when I was a student and you had to get an assignment in, and, funnily enough, you did it the night before and you suddenly were inspired.
Yeah, exactly,
But it's also Parkinson's law, where it says work expands to fill the time allocated to it.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So like, I remember when I'd be on a half day from work, I'd get so much done in that 4-hour space of time than I would in a full 8 hours. I'd probably go and have a chat and, and it would just be really unproductive.
Because in your mind, you're like, I'm here till 5, so.
Yeah, exactly. I got loads of time. Whereas, I work between 9 and 12 when my kids are at school and creche. And so, if I'm looking at my watch, I'm thinking it's 11:30. I've got half an hour. Okay, what can I get done in that time?
Yeah.
I can shoot a video. I can, quickly, make connections with somebody, or, it's like, how can I get this done? So there's no kind of, let me just look on Facebook.
Right.
I can do that later when I'm not, when I'm just kind of maybe chilling and hanging out with the kids.
Sure.
We can do something together then. But it's like, when I'm working, I'm working.
Right. And the 9 to 12 part, you told me about that before, and to me it just felt like magic. I was like, how is that even, like, how do you even approach something like that? How do you, because my guess is you actually get a lot done between 9 and 12. So tell us some of your secrets. How do you do it?
Well, I suppose Well, it's interesting because what I find a lot of people saying, like, can you help me to manage my time better?
Yeah.
And I do believe that that's a symptom of a bigger problem. That if your business model is it's not conducive to the 20-hour week, then you actually are starting off on the wrong foot. So for me, it's about looking at the business model and how you make money and how you build leverage into your business. So to give you an example, so some of the ways that I share with people how they can build leverage is whether they create a premium product or a premium package that they can charge more, but it doesn't take up a huge amount of time. If they have an online course or an online program. And what I find is that if you can sell value, not time, that shifts everything for your business. So you start thinking in a different way. So it's a mindset shift. Because I know that some people say like, 20-hour week, Yasmin, that's not possible. And it's like, well, I just need you to be open to how you could make it work in your business.
Yeah, no, because you're absolutely right. Like if you sell time, 20 hours, you'll only ever be worth those 20 hours, whatever they amount to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And even if there's an hourly rate, and you increase your hourly rate or whatever, there's always going to be that ceiling versus thinking to value. And I imagine, it's just very scalable, just the way that you start thinking about it.
Yeah, because I would say and even out of the 20 hours, probably 10 are going to be billable because you still have admin, you still have marketing, you have all the other things to do. And so if you were, paid $100 for an hour, you're always going to have a cap of 1,000. And, the thought of you doing 10 hours every week, you might go, oh my God, I'm going to be exhausted if you're doing maybe if you're one-on-one and you find it intensive. And of course, it depends on the nature of your business. Whereas if you have a leverage model, then you can think, well, I could have, I could be Oprah ready. That's kind of the way I look at it.
What does that mean?
So if suddenly Oprah picked up my book and said, oh my God, you got to check out this woman, and everyone started running off and they all said, Yasmin, I want to come and work with you.
Yeah. I
could cope with an influx of hundreds.
Right.
Whereas if I was still...
have to be Oprah ready, yeah. I love that.
So it's like, her book club was so popular.
Yeah.
And, there were some books that when she announced them, like they were out of print and they got sold out so quickly and they weren't able to produce them enough for the demand. So there was a huge missed opportunity for a lot of authors. And so I kind of think of it as Oprah ready. So when I was on my one-on-one model, I wouldn't be able to cope with that. But now I have a model, the way that I work is I could have hundreds of people join the program, and which would be amazing, but I would still be able to deliver what I do.
Right, yeah.
And without it taking up more of my time.
Because you've designed the business model that way.
Exactly.
Okay, and then that is one of 4 core pillars of your process. The first one is the purpose piece.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so purpose is just really around like why your business exists. Why do you do what you do? And, sometimes people say like my life purpose. And I kind of say, it's pretty big. Sometimes... it doesn't need to be that big. It just needs to be about why your business exists. And I believe that business exists to create a transformation. And it's about really being passionate and purposeful about what that transformation is, how you help people. And so I think that, especially when it's tough in business, that purpose keeps you going and spurs you on.
And do you find as well that, I would say clients and brands, like they would, or just customers in general, they would see the difference when someone is doing something out of purpose versus, oh yeah, we do what they do, just a bit cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then that's just a race to the bottom, and there's always going to be someone cheaper,
Yeah, and you're never going to win that race. There's always going to be someone, and so you want to position yourself so that price isn't one of the main kind of like, well, that person's charging this and you're charging this.
If it comes down to price, it's already like a losing battle. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Do you? I guess the point I'm trying to get at is that it's not just something that's good. It's not just an exercise that's important for you to do as a business. Whether you're one person or more than one, but it's actually something that transcends itself. It's something that customers would be able to notice as well, and it's something that will help to set you apart.
Yeah, exactly. Because like for me, Tiny Time Big Results isn't just about me having a business so I can run it with my kids, and do all the things that I want to do with them. But it's about showing people how they could have greater fulfillment, greater abundance, a greater quality of life. And so, nothing gets me more excited than when I see my clients like going out there going, oh my God, I just got my first sale, or I've just run these series of workshops and they're just absolutely killing it. And it's so exciting to see because now they can see it's possible for them.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
That is definitely amazing. And then with So it starts off with purpose, and then from there go into profit, which you touched on earlier.
Exactly, yeah, around the business model. And, for me, it's very much around client attraction. And client attraction on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to have that feast or famine. You've just got clients and money coming in consistently.
So a lot of people start off with word of mouth, obviously, in their own networks.
Yes.
And, there's nothing wrong with that per se. But what are your thoughts? What is your approach when it comes to this piece?
For me, I like it's old school, networking, word of mouth. Like social media just amplifies the word of mouth, which is brilliant.
A lot of people. Sorry, not to cut you off, but a lot of people say, "Oh, you're still getting business from word of mouth. Oh, poor guy,
Yeah.
When in fact, it's like, no, that's the best.
That's the best.
It's the best thing that could ever happen to you, or the best referral source. It's just a matter of what are the other mediums or processes that you can apply to amplify that word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how can you scale that? So every time I work with somebody, I ask them to give me a testimonial. I can then share that on social media. I can let other people tell other people how good I am about what I do.
Totally, because sometimes even if it's just a whisper from someone else, it's a lot more powerful than if I was, with a
look
loudspeaker.
at me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so great. And they're like kind of going, oh God, there she goes again. Whereas somebody else says, she helped me to do this and this has been amazing. And to be honestly, that's kind of how I get most of my clients is people say, you help this person and you help this person. And so I want some of that too, please.
Isn't that amazing? It always involves someone else's name, like another person's name. And
that's a connection. But like that, so it's networking, speaking, and social media is fantastic. Like video, I do videos every day, and they're only 1-2 minute videos, but it means that I get out. And one of the things that I do get people saying to me is like, I see you everywhere, and I'm like, great, that's exactly what
it's supposed to be. Exactly, yeah. And the thing is, a lot of people get hung up on like, oh yeah, well, I posted I finally overcome my whatever, like, fear of posting a video, and I didn't get that much engagement. The truth is, like, these days, because we had a YouTube influencer on the show recently, cool. Thomas Arnold, and he's talking about how, like, even just because there's so much content out there, just because someone's not commenting or liking per se, doesn't mean that they didn't see it, doesn't mean that it still left a good positive impression on them. And so, as long as there's views, as long as there's distribution.
Yes.
Whether people, of course, if someone engages with it, that's how much they like it,
Yeah.
But I think people should still be encouraged to put content out, even if, quote unquote, no one is liking or commenting on it.
Yeah.
They're still seeing it.
Yeah.
Many times they see it and they've already developed a positive impression of you. They just have to go on to the next thing that they have to do in their day, right?
Exactly. And I completely agree with that, because with video has been so powerful for me in my business. Like, I was at a networking event last year, and this woman came up to me, she said, oh my God, Yasmin, oh my God, I'm so excited to see you and all this. And I actually genuinely looked at her, and when you have that fear of, oh God, how do I know you? Oh, we've met before. And I was really, really worried. And I was like, I don't want anyone to think that I've forgotten them.
Yeah.
And then we had to sit down because another speaker was coming on, and she came up to me afterwards. She said, I am so mortified. I went, why? She goes, we've never met. And I went, oh, thank God, because I thought I genuinely forgotten. She says, I watch your videos. I felt like I knew you.
Wow.
And I went, okay, that's cool. That's fine. And like, we're great friends on Facebook now and things, but it was just, she said, I feel like I know you.
Yeah.
Because the way I speak now is the way I'm on video.
Yeah.
So it just kind of, it breaks those barriers of people kind of going, do I like her? And, whether they like to hear my voice, or, it could be some weird foible about that. Like, my youngest is 2. And so when he was a baby, like, he was in a lot of my videos because he's in creche now. So, but when he was, he was in a lot of my videos, and I still feed him. So every so often you'd see a baby feeding, and I just kind of switch the camera up a little bit so that nobody could see anything, because God forbid I get banned from Facebook. And and somebody said, are you breastfeeding? And some people didn't like that, and some people loved it. And I said, and that's okay. I'm happy to be polarizing, because that means then you magnetize the right people to you, and forget about the rest, because somebody else will look after them.
As well, it reminds me of how some people think that celebrities, for example, they just pop out of nowhere, or like, why do people get so attached to certain celebrities or certain people? They'd go to their concert and they'd be queuing up for God knows how long. And it's because they have this feeling like they know the person from before. But if you look into the just the pure like mathematics of it. It's just because these people are actually just putting out a lot of content.
Yeah.
And so you feel like you know this person. You feel like it's your buddy who's like WhatsApping you every day or something like that. And so the same thing holds true for brands. Like we always say as well, you know, for I would say for all brands, but specifically for small brands, the people behind the brands, i.e. the personal brands, that is essentially congruent with what the company's brand is.
Yeah.
Because logos are just logos at the end of the day. It's really about, oh, this is, you know, so and so's company. And even if there's more than one person involved, like each one can develop their own kind of like area of expertise. It doesn't have to be, you know, one brand per company. It could be several people, but the commonality holds true, which is, you know, you still have to put yourself out there as much as possible, regardless of whether people are so-called, you know, like commenting or liking it or anything like that.
And I think that's why, you know, what you do is so great, because it's about kind of showing people the power. You know, it's not just about the likes of the Kardashians that can get out there. It's like, you know, the likes of me, I can put out my content and reach my audience. And, you know, and that's something that I feel like I say all the times to my clients. It's like, okay, so what's stopping you from putting that video out? Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Oh, I know you're going to say that. Oh, do I have to do it? And it's like, okay, what's stopping you? What is holding you back?
Yeah.
And like, truthfully, I mean, I watched a couple of my old videos from like 5-6 years ago, and I cringed because I was all like, oh, hello, my name is Yasmin. I was really, really like...
Super formal, yeah.
Yeah, super formal, because I thought I had to be professional.
Right, yeah.
And I just look at it and go, my personality is not there. But I said, but it's only by having done it again and again and again that my personality, I've been able to kind of bring it out more.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I said, listen, the first time you do a video, it's not going to be great, and that's okay.
Yeah,
be okay with that.
Absolutely, and especially when you start coming, that's a great tactic or a great trick where you're recording something, especially if it's your very first time, you're recording something, and you already know that you're not going to be too hard on yourself because you know it's not going to be perfect. Yeah. Like the first video I put out, for example, for Tribe Tactics, I was saying, you know, like and ums like a lot, and I still do that from time to time. I like to think I've gotten a bit better at it, but you know. I think once you've taken that first step, you've already like broken that mental barrier. Yeah. Another trick that we do is we record more than one video in the same day and drip them off like drip them out like after the fact. So it's already very exciting because you know that, especially if you've taken the time to like set up everything, if you have like a mic or even a phone or a DSLR camera, once you have the setup and you've just finished your first video, you're kind of like in the zone. You might as well get like 3, 4, 5 done while you're at it as well. And then, you know, you have content for like a week and you can just go from there.
Yeah, it's great. I love batch creating.
Yeah.
When I can get around to doing it.
Yeah, batch creating. You're so good at summarizing what I'm trying to say. So Parkinson's law and then obviously batch
creation.
Yeah.
It's in the book.
Perfect. So speaking of which, moving on to the next one then. So we looked at purpose, profit, and then
productivity, yeah. Yeah, and that really is, you know, about how you get the most out of your time. And, you know, so there's lots of different techniques that you can use. Like, you know, you've got the Pomodoro where, you know, a Pomodoro came from just having a kitchen timer that was shaped like a tomato. Yeah. You know, and so you just put the timer on and say, I've got 20 minutes to get this blog post done, whatever.
And then no matter what, you got to take a break after.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, having, you know, using Parkinson's law. So if someone says, I've got to record a video, it's going to take me hours. I said, no, give yourself 30 minutes to film that video and that's it, you know, or blog post.
Yeah. And regardless of quality, it's more about the consistency.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, just get it done. Like we're so focused on perfectionism and it all has to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect and that's okay.
Do you know what's crazy? Some big brands that are like global brands, they're purposely these days recording stuff on their phones, like in selfie mode when they release a new feature or whatever. Even though like clearly they could do the whole thing professionally if they wanted to, but they purposely do that just so that they can, you know, perhaps build more affinity with their audience. That's my interpretation of it, and it works really well because people feel like, oh no way, it's like, you know, it's like my friend who just sent me a video of what their company is up to. So that goes to show that it's not necessarily like the thing to do. It depends on like your vibe and what works best for you. But it just goes to show that exactly what you said, you know, professionalism is no longer required so much that even the quote unquote professional folks are doing backwards now, right?
Exactly. And I just think imperfect action is better than no action.
Totally.
Because otherwise I'll be like, oh, I've got to tinker with my website and I've got to do this and it's like all that's stopping you from getting out there.
Especially when people think of like criticism and stuff, like that's one of the main things. And, I feel like sometimes if you're the one to put something out, you're probably 1 out of 100 at least, if not, this is like simplifying it. I think it's maybe 1 out of 1,000 that decided to do that, whether it's like a dream that you have or a personal side project that you want to work on, so on and so forth. So I think that in itself should be motivation for them to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you don't realize how much you're kind of showing other people the way as well. And they kind of go, you're doing it. Maybe I could do it too. And it's like, yeah, you can.
Do you get a lot of people reaching out to you and saying, hey, I want to do this too. How do you do it?
Yeah, exactly. Like they're just at the talk and they were like saying, I really love what you said. I really want to do that. I want to do that. And it's like, okay, cool. Let's talk, you know, and you can. And it's, for me, it's about removing the resistance.
Yeah.
Whatever's holding you back, let's just get rid of it. And it's about accountability as well, because I think that, and that's a hugely important for productivity.
Yeah.
Is, so my client would say like, I'm going to do a LinkedIn post today. And I'm like, right, okay, tell me when you've done it. And they're like, oh.
I love that.
And they're like,
it's like, I'm waiting, tell me. Yeah.
I was like, okay, on our next call, I want you to send me the link to it so I can read it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's why I love online courses, and I've done so many of them myself. Like I've been a student and created them.
Yeah.
But what I find is that accountability is the one thing that's really missing. It's we can start off with great excitement and I've done module 1, module 2, module 3, I'll get to it later.
Yeah.
And the motivation wanes. Whereas when you are, when you have accountability built in, it's powerful stuff. It gets people doing what they need to do. Because, we're always fighting against our own psychology.
Yeah.
And our brain is trying to keep us safe and say, oh, we'll just stay here. We won't go out today. And I won't do that video today. And so it really is about melting that resistance and thinking, okay, if I'm really purposeful and I'm really driven to what I'm doing and I'm really focusing on the profit, okay, these things are going to help me to get to that point.
Yeah. And I think this is something that's so gold that it applies to anything in life, even if it's like going to, going to like the gym or like eating healthy or whatever the case may be. What are some of I love that so much. I'm just trying to think, how can somebody find like an accountability buddy almost, or like, so obviously, you have I suppose the classic version of that is having like a mastermind group where there's more than one individual involved. But what would you say is, because it's very easy for someone to just go to like a friend of theirs and be like, hey, hey buddy, like you're gonna be my accountability, and they'll say, sure man, or sure girl, and it's like, but like deep down in you, you're like, yeah, but that's my friend, like they're not gonna be
push
too critical.
Me. Yeah, they're not gonna.
So what's your advice around that?
I think for me, it's about obviously the area of the goal. So if it's a business goal, then it's important to find a group that's gonna help you to, whether it's a coach or whether it's a group that's going to allow you like a mastermind. I think it's important that you are open to being challenged, and to also give the other person permission to challenge you. Because I think that's really important. Like I talk about, I know how scary it can be to invest in working with a coach or, doing a program. And I say, but the thing is that when you're investing in your business, you're actually investing in yourself to show that, you are worthy of this. Absolutely. I invest all the time. So I'm in a program. I have a coach. I have an accountability buddy because I need those things as well. And so it's really important that it's not about saying I'm a guru. Look at me, I've got it all sussed.
Yeah, I don't need it anymore. No.
No, not true at all.
It's funny because the more as you continue to turn pro and get more and more good at your craft, you realize more and more of what you don't know. And and that's why, speaking of coaches, for example, there's a lot of people that would, that you find that sometimes it's a CEO who gets a coach, or like someone who's like a senior exec who gets a coach, or an equivalent position, because they have the humility, but also the wisdom to realize how important that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that, I've worked with coaches for a long time, like nearly 20 years now, and, for different things. And, I was like, it always shows me what I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, okay, so what else do I want to achieve? Or how else do I want to be in the world? So whether it's a spiritual coach or whether it's a money coach or anything, it's like, okay, so if I have these big dreams, I want, a mentor is great because they can shortcut the way
Yeah.
for you. Is they'll say, so I hear a lot of people come to me and they say like, I'm really struggling with my marketing message. And so what I always say to them is like, so tell me what it is that you do, kind of getting them to give me their one-liner. And I can instantly spot what the problem is. And I said, so that's what a mentor can do for you. It's like,
Right.
okay, do you know what? No, that's not going to cut it. And I always say that I give a lot of love in the way that I deal with like people in my community and my clients. I said, but it always has a touch of steel, because I want to make sure that I'm not just one of those people that goes, oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's so cool.
Right, yeah.
And everything. And we're like, yeah, I think you can do better than that.
Right.
I love this. I think this could be worked on, because otherwise that's not what they're hiring me for. They want to move forward in their business.
Right.
They want to make really good money.
Yeah,
so it's like,
they need a backbone.
yeah, and I was like, so I'm not gonna just hand it here.
Right. No, that makes sense, and I mean, you're absolutely right. Like it's, I don't know if you call it like tough love or anything like, or like a synonym of that, but
Yeah,
it's really important,
exactly.
and many times that's what people need, and that's at the core of building accountability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna start. I think for us, like we're gonna start thinking of having even like external like accountability buddies. I think it would be great to have that.
Yeah.
I think even it could be interesting, even if it's like, I'm just thinking out, even like for ourselves, like if you find like another brand that is doing something complementary to what you're doing, it could be an interesting, mastermind type thing where it's
Yeah.
like not just from individual to individual, but like from company to company
Yeah,
even,
it'd be cool. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I'll let you know how we get on.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last but not least is play.
Yes.
That's very interesting. You wouldn't typically. So I've read a little bit about it, but I want you to tell us more about it. But typically, people would be like, "Oh no, I don't have time for this. I need to work. I need to, like I don't have." And by the way, I'm culprit of that. Like I find myself working on like the weekends and stuff, thinking, "No, I didn't." It's so bad now that I think of it. But I keep thinking like, "Oh, I didn't earn that privilege yet to relax a bit. I need to keep working."
Yeah.
So how do you?
And so for me, it's about the long term, the longevity of your business and of you as well as a person.
Yeah.
And, and I could completely relate to that. Like, oh, I haven't done enough. I need to keep working. I need to keep working. I need to keep
It's
plugging.
never ending. Yeah.
Yeah, it never ends. And
Especially if you're a business owner, because it's like,
there's always more to do.
it's not like, oh, I've done my job, I'm getting paid, it's
Yeah.
cool. It's,
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what else should I be doing? What else should I be doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the question that we keep asking is like, what else should I be doing? And what I actually found was that's completely counterintuitive is actually making time for rest and downtime and sleep, actually makes you far more creative.
Sleep, remember that?
Yeah, remember
Yeah.
that? It makes you more productive. Research has already shown us that sleep is one of the best things that you can do for your health and your well-being. And if I'm tired, if I'm cranky, my kids know it, first of all, that if I'm tired and cranky, because I shout
can
a lot.
tell. Okay.
I shout a lot. And so, for me, it's like, I gotta have a rest. And do you know what's really interesting though, Kareem, is that when I have deliberately kind of went, okay, I'm going to take a break there. And then in those days where I look at my phone, there's PayPal notification. I've just made some money. And I was just sitting down reading my book.
Yeah.
And it's that sense of I don't need to be pushing all the time to create results. And for me, play is about that kind of taking down time and things, but it's also about the self-care, the inner work.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, am I looking after my mindset? Am I looking after, my inner well-being? Because when you're in business, and I fell into this trap, was when I wasn't making money, it was a reflection of me. And it was like, I'm not making money, therefore I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
I am not worthy. And, one of my mentors said to me, she says, you're not your business. You're not your business. So you need to separate the two.
Yeah.
And that was a really powerful moment for me because it really got me thinking, okay, if I'm not making money, it doesn't mean that reflects on me as a human being. It's just that there's something that needs to be tweaked.
Yeah.
Either I'm not, haven't got a great offer, or that my marketing message isn't quite right, or, whatever it might be. That's all fixable.
Yeah. That's like saying, if my car breaks down, I don't have a car, but if I did have a car, it'd be like, if my car breaks down, it's a bad reflection on me. Whereas, obviously people wouldn't do that. They'd be like, no, I'll be objective. Let me see what is wrong with the car. Let me attend to that, and then we'll be back on track. Yeah. And a business is no different from a car or any other machine that you may be interacting with. Yeah.
But we do take it personally.
Yeah.
Or if someone says no to working with you, oh God, I've been rejected.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like,
think about it all day, yeah.
Yeah, and you're kind of like, well, if you went to the supermarket and looked at two different brands of bleach and you picked one over the other, do you think the other brand is going to go, oh my God, she didn't buy me? I feel so rejected.
If they had cameras, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. But it's like, it's just trying to remove that element out of it, because in business, we're here to serve. And someone paying you, it's an exchange of value. So you're going to be giving them something.
Yeah, they'll give you chickens, right? Instead of
exactly. So it's like, let's just remove all of that. So if it's not working out, then let's just fix it. But let's not make it be about us.
Yeah.
And I think it was really important for me, because I remember being really, really stressed for a long time in my business. And I remember thinking, my kids don't deserve a cranky mom. They don't deserve this. I'm meant to be doing this for them and for us as a family.
Yeah.
How can I make this better? I've got to get cleverer than this. So play is actually a really important part of the philosophy, because, if you're thinking 20 hours a week, you're like, geez, Yasmin, you've got loads of time for play. And it's like, well, actually I don't. I have a full-time, all the time job as a parent.
Yeah.
And so I need to have space for me. I sometimes remember those days when I could just literally go home on a Friday evening and I wouldn't see anybody until a Monday morning. And because I'm an introvert and I energize from being by myself. And I was like, I can't remember the last time, 12 hours is as far as it goes when the kids are asleep. It's like, when they go to bed, I'm like kind of going, I'm going to stay up for a little bit later because this is me time or us time, where me and my husband get to talk and chat and things. But play is a really, really important part of the philosophy.
I've learned so much from this conversation, specifically the play part, because like I told you, it's sometimes you just feel like this is play is nice, therefore it's a reward, therefore you should work hard and until
you got to work towards it.
Exactly, you gotta work towards it, when in fact, what I'm learning now is that it's actually one of the enablers that will get you to your goal, regardless, right?
It absolutely will. And I really do believe that, because anytime I've actually made the conscious decision, I'm like saying, okay, do you know what? I'm just going to go for a walk. I'm going to go and enjoy. And that's what I mean, play. I'm like, and it could be I love going to the playground with my kids and I go and play on the swings and they're like, Mom, can we have a go now? And it's like, not yet. I'm not done yet. But it's like, but I see the results then.
Yeah.
It's like whether it's the PayPal notification or a sales call being booked in, I can see that. And then that spurs me on. I'm like, oh, well, I need to do more play then, because this is getting me results.
Yeah. The more I relax, the more I just, trust what I've done to date.
Yes.
The more I'm getting insights and getting value from that of all sorts.
And one of the things I talk about in the book is about raising your vibe. I'm very much into we're all energy, and everything that we're doing and talking and thinking is, brings out an energy. And so if I'm coming at my business with this desperate energy of I got to get money and where's the money going to come from? People can sense that.
Yeah.
You don't have to say a word, but people can sense that. Whereas if I'm coming at my business with an energy of, being relaxed and just saying, listen, the right people are going to find me, and then they kind of go, I like her, and I don't know why I like her, and they just, you just magnetize them.
No, absolutely. It's no different than, asking someone out, for example, being, you have to be, I guess it's the same for anything. Your energy is everything. And if you come from a place of stability and control, is totally different than if it's something off of that. So I wanted to close with, I've added my own P, which is just unofficially, and I'm 100% sure that you covered that already, but around the idea of promotion and building, so the marketing bit, when does that come in? How do you advise people to market themselves once they've taken that hurdle, gotten over that initial hurdle of actually putting themselves out there?
Yeah, so the marketing piece comes into the profit section.
Yeah.
And in the book, actually, that's the chunkiest section out of the 4 of them, because I do spend a lot of time on helping people to understand how to kind of, get clear on their message, how they build leverage, how they attract, which is what marketing is all about, and then how they convert. So how they convert those prospects into paying clients.
Right.
So,
and just sorry, quickly, what would you say is how would you define leverage in this case?
The leverage is kind of in terms of how their business model works. And then the attraction is around how they market their business.
Right, got it.
Because what I find is business owners, they think marketing and sales is the same thing. So no, marketing is letting people know what it is that you do. Conversion is actually the process that you take someone from like, oh, what's this all about? And yes, I want to be a paying client.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's about helping them to understand how they are attracting and converting. So somebody could say like, I've been doing loads of videos and I'm putting loads of stuff out there and nothing. I'm getting nothing. And it's like, do you give them call to action? Do you tell them what the next step is? Do you invite them to look at your product range? Do you invite them to book a call with you? No. I was like, okay, you need to then move them along to the next step, and so for me, marketing and promotion is, and one of my mentors says, she's always be marketing.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I take that to heart. So I could be standing in the supermarket checkout line and chatting with somebody and they could say, oh, what do you do? And I say, well, I run Tiny Time Big Results. And they go, oh, because the thing is, everybody that we meet, they may not necessarily be an ideal client, but they'll probably know someone who is a great client for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been trying to, I'll figure it out one day, but I've been trying to come up with this like visual, because I'm a very visual person, but I'm trying to come up with this graphic or infographic that shows exactly what you're talking about, which is ultimately we're all connected by a set of clusters, for example, you have me as a contact and vice versa. Other people have like other contacts, like everything is connected on a one-to-one basis, if I'm making any sense. But like ultimately, people sometimes create marketing and even sales and they just think that they're just like, broadcasting or like barking to like a general sea of stuff, when in fact it really does come down to like, one-to-one engagements. And how can you speak in the second person that way,
And I think that's a really important point, like from a marketing perspective, is talk to one person at a time. I
noticed that in your videos, like I feel like you're speaking with people like literally on a one-to-one basis.
Because I tend to say things like, hi, lovely.
That's right. Yeah, you always start.
And I was like,
not lovelies, for example, right?
Not lovelies. Because I remember a video expert, I remember watching a video of his years ago and he was like, hi, everybody. And I was like, oh, your credibility is now being questioned by me, because in a video, I'm not watching it with a whole bunch of other people. I'm watching it on my phone or my laptop at home by myself. Oh my God. I always say hi, everybody. I'm going to change that now. No. It wasn't you.
No. But I'm going to, but it makes sense, because if you say hi, everybody, it's as if it's like you're on stage, but it's different. If you're on stage, then yeah, fair enough. But if you're recording a video, unless whenever your video comes on the screen, 10 people crowd to see it at once. Okay, the video's on.
Look what he's done.
Then, maybe if it's like a TV show or something. But no, but you're absolutely right, because ultimately it does come down to that one-to-one engagement. Yeah. And
I did a workshop in Dublin actually last year, and that was, a few people said like, I love your videos because it feels like you're just talking to me.
That's amazing, right? That's the best.
And it was great feedback to get, because I went, okay, I'm doing something right. And the person that I always imagine I'm talking to is my sister, who's my best friend. And
I love that.
So, because I'm really informal with her. And so it just makes people kind of connect.
Yeah, I love that, because many times people are like staring at a camera lens and it's like, this is weird. There's no person there,
Yeah, exactly.
I remember even when we were recording videos in the start, like sometimes we would have, we would make sure there's other people like just watching, so that it just feels a lot, more natural, I guess. But in the same time, if you just visualize that there's somebody that you are sending this message to, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could even be like a great client that you have a great relationship with. Based on that, you'd be able to really get into this zone of talking to one person at a time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Cool. Well, Yasmin, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you so much.
I know we could be here for
I know.
But, taking a leaf from your book, we want to make sure that we, that we keep it concise. So, thank you so much, and we'll stay in touch.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right.